there we go. Now we're on. Yeah, man. Welcome to this webinar, man. Today's webinar is gonna be a little bit helpful for a lot of you guys who were just getting into prop firms, just getting into trading. You're a beginner. Now you have the system, right? You have all the webinars that are going to get you to a profitable system, right? We have the system, all the webinars are there. The playbook, the trading, trade management, the ranges, all the individual setups, the candlestick anatomy, everything you need is here now. So now you're going to get the full sauce on how prop firms work, how we use it, and how you can you take advantage of it, right? So this is going to be very, very useful for a lot of beginners who are just getting started. I think this was the last piece of the puzzle, and obviously we're going to got more webinars coming in the future, but this is going to be the last piece of the puzzle for a lot of you guys who are getting in here. This is well anticipated. Everybody was asking for this webinar. I think now we can finally give it to you guys, and I think it's going to help a lot of people out. So just give us a little, like 45 minutes to an hour, maybe less of your time, and we're going to teach you everything we do here, as far as what we do with the prop firms and how they work and how you can use it, and we're going to teach you everything, man. So today we're going to get into, first of all, we're just going to tell you why prop firms are good, why they're good, how you can use it, and what's the best part about it. And we're also going to get into why Top Step, right? So we only use Top Step here in this community, Top Step, and that's it, right? We don't use any other prop firms, and there's a reason to why we do that. And we're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into all the rules that they have, so you're familiar with the rules when you're trading them. That way, it's gonna be easy for you to understand those rules. We're gonna get into setting up your account once you purchase an account, and then we're gonna show you our system, the system that we use to pass these combines, to get funded, to get a payout. We're gonna show you how to pass the combine. We're gonna teach you how we do it. We're gonna teach you how we manage our combines. We're gonna teach you how we get payouts. And then we're going to teach you what the base hits are. So base hits is a concept that we use here, and we teach everybody in the academy what a base hit is. And I think we're going to get into that as well today. And then lastly, we're going to show you how the platform works, because I think that's something that's not that a lot of people struggle with, is understanding how the platform in itself works, right? So that's going to be very important. So we're going to walk through this one by one and make sure that you guys are getting every single thing out, every single information that you need to be able to then leave here and then be able to do this on your own for yourself. And then obviously then you got this, and you couple this with the webinars, the previous webinars, all the the webinars with the strategy and the playbook. All that coupled with this is going to really, really help you out and get you to where you really want to be. So I think, we're just going to get right into it, man. I don't want to waste too much of you guys' time. And obviously, if you're in the academy, you can just rewatch this over and over and over again. So it's gonna be pretty good, man. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna get into why a prop firm is good, right? So there's really only a couple of reasons why prop firms are good. So obviously, the reason number one is because it's not your own capital, right? It's not your own capital. You can use somebody else's capital, right? I think this is pretty straightforward, right? It's not your capital. It's the prop firm capital, right? So the reason why it's really good is because for a beginner, they can get into trading and making real money right out the back, right? You don't have to really invest and put as much money into trading. All you have to do is just buy a prop firm account. Top Step is like $50 for a combine. You get into a combine, and then there's an activation fee. We're gonna show you what that is later on today, but it's really not your capital. So the reason why I like prop firms is because, first of all, the money you lose is not real, right? So it's fake money, and you're losing fake money, right? So it's just fake money, right? Fake money. But the money you make is real money, right? So that means that you're able to, when you lose money, it's fake. You don't lose anything. So if you lose $1,000, you didn't really lose anything. All you lose is what you invested into that prop firm, right? Which is $50, right? So if you invest $50, and if you lose 1,000 or 2,000, you don't lose anything at all, right? You don't lose anything at all, right? It's fake money. But then on the upside, if you make $1,000, right, now it's real money, right? Now you got real money in your pocket that you can put into your bank account, and you can go to the local Chipotle and buy yourself a little burrito, and maybe a little a little Pepsi, right, or a little cola or something, right? So it's real money, but the money that you lose is fake money, right? So this is one of the beauties, man. This is one of the beauties of prop firms, right? So you don't lose money; it's fake money, but the money you make is real money. So you're able to convert fake money into real money, and most prop firms, well, this Top Step, you can get into a Top Step account for about $200, right? So you invest 200, and most of the times, you're gonna take a payout of over 1,000. So you're kind of making your money plus profit, right? So it's very, very cool. It's very, very important, and I like it, right? So that's why proffers are good, man. You can really just milk it. You can just really just milk it. And then the reason why we choose Top Step is because let me bring up the Top Step, right? So prop firms are really good. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It's very, very useful for a lot of beginners. I started off with a prop firm. A lot of people in here have, in this academy, have started with a prop firm, and they've been able to, take money, real money out of the prop firm, and they're able to really start a trading career using prop firms, right? So it's very, very useful, and I think for most beginners, they don't need to be worrying too much um about putting their own money into this. All they need to worry about is you know getting into a prop firm. It's going to be useful for a lot of beginners, and I think it's going to be pretty good. So let's get into prop firm, Top Step, and see why. And I'll explain to you guys why Top Steps are good. Top Step is good, right? So there's a lot of prop firms in the industry, and I've tried them all. And out of all of them, the only one that I've been able to really, really like, and the rules, and the reason why is because of the rules, right? So the reason why I like Top Step is because first of all, the account is very cheap, right? It's a very, very cheap account. It's just $50, right? Boom, just $50. You pay $50, you get an account, and then you just have to make $3,000 and not lose 2,000, right? So you got a drawdown of 2,000, but you only have to make $3,000, and then once you make that $3,000, you pay your activation fee, and now you're in an XFA, and that is where you are able to withdraw money from, right? From your XFA account, right? So your XFA is basically a funded account, right? So when you get into Top Step, your trade the eval account, the combine account is just sim money. It's not real money, right? It's just sim money. You're not able to take money off of it. All you're doing is proving to them that you can trade, and then once you prove to them that you can trade, then you get into an XFA account, and that XFA account is your actual real account where you can make real money from, right? So very, very important there, man. The difference between both of them. I know some of you guys, you get into this, you think that's only it, but all that really is just an evaluation, right? So once you pass that evaluation, then you get into a funded account, right? And then the funded account is where you take the money, right? So you get into this, and it's just an eval, right? So there's a way, there's a rule, there's a couple rules here in the eval, right? The only rule that you gotta the only rules that you gotta follow is one, not lose 2,000. You can't lose $2,000 max at any given point in time. You can't lose $2,000, right? That's the only drawdown you have, and it's an end of day drawdown, meaning that it's not trailing with you. It starts from the end of the day, whatever your balance was at the end of the day, and then you can't lose 2,000, right, from that balance. So if it was 50,000 at the end of the day, you can't go down 48,000, right? So it's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. I think a lot of these rules are straightforward, and that's why I like them, man. And then you got to make 3,000, but you cannot make more than $1,500 a day, because they have a 50% consistency fee, meaning that you can't make more than half of your total profits within one given day, which is a 24-hour period, right? And so that's pretty good there. But that right there does not really impede our ability to pass these combines. They're pretty easy to pass. Like I said, we're going to teach you how we do it, our system, and I think it's going to be pretty beneficial, right? So all you got to remember is I got to make $1,500 a day. That's the most I can make, and once I hit 3,000, I pass my account, and then I pay my activation fee, and then I'm into a funded account. Simple, simple, simple rule. And then once you get into a funded account, an XFA, you get into let's see if I can bring up the rules here, right? So once you get into a funded account, an XFA, it's pretty simple, right? All you have to do is make 5 days of 150, right? So where is it at? So let's see if they bring it up. Okay, so these are the objectives, right? Once you hit the XFA, all you have to do to be able to take a payout is just make 5 days of 150. So that means for 5 days, for the next 5 days, the minimum for that day to count is 150, right? And then once you make 150, you can, we're gonna get into base hits and why they're important. But 150 counts as your day, and you got to make that times 5, and then you can withdraw 50% of that total balance, right? So if you make only 150 for 5 days, that is three that is $750, right? That you make in total, and you can withdraw 50% of that, which is about $375, right? So you can withdraw $375, and that is if you do the bare minimum, right? And you've invested 200, so now you've profited 150, right? And that is the bare minimum. Most people make more than this, but that is just how the rules work, right? So you just make 150 times 5, done, and then you can take a payout. So the rules are pretty simple, man. It really is that simple, and that's all you got to do. So you pass your eval, you pass your eval, you hit that $3,000 profit, you get into your XFA, and all you have to do is hit 150 times 5, and then you're eligible for a payout, and you can take a payout. Simple, simple, simple. So that concludes, why prop firms are good, Top Step, why Top Step, and all the rules, right? So easy, man. It's that simple. You can rewatch this, and if you have any questions, in the future, you can just ask us, and we're gonna help you out. So let me get into setting up an account, man. It's pretty simple. So here's how you set up an account. Easy peasy weasy, right? So you go to Top Step, right? You go to topstep.com, and then you get into you go and you click the 50%, right? Or the 50K account, and then it takes you to where you can do a 50K account, right? And then you obviously, if you're new, you're gonna have to sign in and set up an account and all that stuff. And then once you get an account, you go here. And I think for now, for the next couple of days, the next couple months or so, you're able to use a code called Onward 40, and it's gonna give you 40% off. And then you literally just go there, and then you just hit pay. You put your payment process, your bank account there, and then you just hit pay, and then you got an account, right? Pretty simple. Let's see. Boom, and now you have an account. You go through the process, you hit agree, and now you have an eval account sitting right there, right here. See, brand new account, brand new. So then you go to your account. So the way you access this is there's the dashboard, right? So if you look here left, it's pretty simple, right? You get here left, and there's a dashboard, there's your profile, there's all this stuff here, billing, all that stuff. You go to accounts. Boom, you go to accounts, and then from the accounts, that's where you're gonna find this section here with all your accounts, right? All your accounts are gonna show up, the previous accounts, everything's gonna show up here. And then you just go where it says your account, you click it, and then it says right here there's a credential, and the credentials for the platform should be the same credentials you used to create your Top Step account. So the same login for your this Top Step platform, or the Top Step, right, is going to be the same credentials for the platform. And then you sign into your platform, and then you should be able to see your accounts right here. If you have XFAs or you got combines, right? Boom, and now done. You're in your account. Done. Very, very simple. Very, very easy. When you do start off, though, in this academy, I'm gonna show you what we do here, right? So once you get in here, it's it's gonna look like this, right? It's gonna look like this. Let me see if I can reset this. So that's what it's gonna look like. You don't need all this stuff. The first thing I would do once you get into this platform is I would just remove all this stuff. You don't need it. You don't need it at all. I would just remove it. It's just noise. This is just gonna mess you up and lead to some type of error. So I would just delete everything. Hit the little box there. Delete. And now you have a clean platform. You can leave this one down here. This is where you're gonna be able to see your orders and stuff like that. And you don't really need it. You can delete it if you want to. I try to keep it. I keep it above. I put it above here because it makes it. I don't know. It's just a little cool, right? I keep it above here, and then it shows up when I drag it. Let's see. right there, right? So, and then you're clean, right? So I'll leave it like this. This is how I got mine, right? And you can mess around with it, do whatever you want to do with it, and it's pretty simple, pretty easy. And now you have your platform. You have your you're in the platform. It looks pretty good. And if you go left here, you can go to performance. This is where you're gonna see your calendar. You know, everybody sees this calendar posted all over the place. This is where you're gonna find out calendar. There's a bunch of settings here. For now, I wouldn't even touch anything at all. I wouldn't. It's just leave it the way it is, and it should be pretty good. You know, you can scroll to them if you like anything you see. You can you can mess with it, but I wouldn't recommend it for now. Just kind of just stick to what it is, the base, right, and the default, right. So it should be pretty good there, man. So this is what the platform looks like, and yes, it's this how you use it, and we can show you how to do it on phone. I think we can show that, right? Should we show how to use anybody on phone? So on the phone it should be the same thing. It's just gonna look like it's just gonna be on your phone, right? It should be the same exact process. You're just gonna navigate through it on your phone, and I don't think it's gonna be any different. And but we are gonna show you how to place an order on your phone as well too. All right, the phone is the same process. Yeah, I think it's the same process, and we are gonna show you how to do that on your phone, how to place an order, because that's gonna be the most important part here in this community is how to do it on your phone, right? How to place an order on your phone. And I think that's did I delete the thing? Yeah, there we go. Okay. So now you know how to set up your account, right? Now you know how to set up your accounts. I think I'm gonna show you how to right now at this point. I'm gonna show you how to place an order, and then we're gonna get into our system. How to pass the combine. Where's Chris? Is Chris here? He ain't here. How to pass the combine, how to manage an XFA, and then we can get into the base hits. And so I've already showed you pretty much how the platform works here. So yeah, let's get into that. Let's get into that. Yeah, let me show you how to place an order here, man. So what I'm gonna do is, we're gonna see, if we 12 minutes for this candle close. So let's see, I'm gonna go into a practice account here, right? Which you can get also in the dashboard as well, right? So you go to dashboard, you go to accounts, right? And then you go to add-ons, and you could activate an account here. You go activate, yes, activate, and then you should have once you go to your platform, right? There should be a practice account there, right? So pretty simple there. And also for most people, you should be able to download this, right? You should be able to download this on the corner, and then there's gonna be an app that pops up like this. I like the app. It's much cleaner if you're in the dashboard, right? So now you're in your platform, and I'm gonna show you how to set up uh an actual order, right? This is gonna be very important, man. So let's say we have a setup like this, right? And this, by the way, this is an example. This is not an actual setup that we would take. I'm just showing you how we would place an order. So on the computer, you know, you right click, and then you go to, and if you're on a laptop, you might have to double click, and then you do stop by. You select the stop by order, and then if you're gonna place a buy order, you do stop by, and you place it wherever we place it, right? Wherever the entry is gonna be. Obviously, at this point, you already know the entry models. You already know, you're gonna, or you will know the entry models, so you're gonna know where to place your buy stops whenever the time comes. But right now, I'm gonna show you how this works. Let's say I want to place an order right here, right? At the break of those highs. Ooh. Okay, let's see. I want to place it at the break of those high, right? Like that. And when it breaks those highs, I want to get activated, right? Like that, right? Let's see if we get activated here, and then I'm gonna show you how you place your buy. So now we got activated, right? So now I'm gonna show you how to place your stop, your buy, your limit order, your TP, right? So let's say you drag your TP. Let's say you want to drag it to there, right? And then I'm gonna show you how to drag your stop loss, and then you put your stop loss down. So your TP is gonna be in the direction in which you want price to go. Your stop loss is gonna be in the opposite direction, right? So now you're in a trade, and let's say you want to take partials, right? So now what, the same idea, right? What you're gonna do is right click, but instead of putting a buy stop, a stop buy, you're gonna do the opposite of what that order is. So if we're in a buy order, you're gonna do limit sell, and then you're gonna put your limit sell in wherever you're gonna take partials at, right? So let's see, that's your limit sell right there, and Now you're waiting for your parcels to be hit. So let's say you're in 2 contracts, 3 contracts, whatever amount of contracts you want to take partials. You right click, and then you select that number, and then you place it on the screen wherever you're going to take parcels at, right? So this is a pretty basic, pretty simple stuff. You put your order on screen. You wait to get activated. Once you get activated, you're able to drag your TP. You're able to drag your stop loss, and then once you want to take partials, you right click. You select the opposite of what you're in. If you're in a buy, you select sell, and then you do limit sell one, and then or whatever your amounts, and then you just add that to wherever you want to take parcels at, right? You can do this multiple times, but usually we just take partials once and then break even. And like I said, you're gonna know all that stuff in all the other videos. It's gonna be right there. Right, it's gonna be right there. And so pretty simple, man. Pretty simple there. And how to place an order on screen on your on the PC, right? And then the same thing.
Also,
It's gonna be the same thing in the 1 second for the sell, right? So if you're gonna do a sell, it's gonna be the same thing, right? You're gonna right click and do limit sell. Let's say you want to limit sell right down here at the break of those lows. You put your limit sell, and then the same thing, right? You just wait for it to get activated, and then the same process. The only difference is now instead of selling the order to take partials, you're gonna buy the order, right? You're gonna do a limit buy 1 partials, and then here you go, boom. And what was that, Logan?
I was just gonna tell them like, so if you're in a buy, there's like contract size. So like it goes from 1 to 5, and the more the contract is, that's the more that you're risking. So if it's like a buy limit and like you have one, that's the lowest amount of risk. If it's a 5, then that's the most amount of risk. If that makes
Yeah.
sense to y'all.
Yeah, and like I said, all that stuff that he's talking about is going to be in the trade management video. All that stuff is going to be there, right? So right now we're just kind of showing you how the platform works and how to do everything, but you're going to know all that stuff already because you've watched the trade management video, and if you haven't, then I would absolutely recommend that, and you're going to know pretty much all the other stuff, right? So I think that's it for the platform, right? And how to place an order. So now we can get into our system, but I think I gotta show them on how to do this on the phone because a lot of people won't know how to do this on their phone. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring up, we're gonna let somebody hop in here with their phone, and then they're gonna show you. We're gonna turn this on screen and show you how that works on phone. So let's see. Let's see. Where's Chris? Is Chris here? Because Chris is good at doing that. Chris, no Chris, no Chris. Okay. So let me hop in here. Okay. Okay. There we go. Okay, so let's hop over here. And let me bring this up on screen. There we go. Okay. So here's how you would do this, right? On the phone, it would be the same way, right? See, so I'm gonna go to my practice account here, and you can see it, right? So there's a couple ways to do this. So you can see the order on screen there. Let me delete the order. And so the same process this would be the same process, right? So the way I do it is I scroll like this. I go to the middle part where it says trade, right? See down here where it says trade on the bottom of the screen, it says trade. You hit trade, and now that's gonna bring up the dome, right? So all you have to do is you select the order, right? So you can click right here. You can click right there. These are the orders, right? Right here. So you can collect one, you can collect two, three, whatever. And then you can also hit the plus sign as well. So let's say I'm going to put 2 orders here, right? So now I'm in 2 orders, and you can see where it says down there 2 orders. So what I do is on the left side of the screen where it's green, this is where you place buy orders. On the right side, this is where you place sell orders, right? So on the right side, buy orders, right? Sell. On the left side, sell orders. So you see how it's green and red, right? So if you're going to place a buy order, you want to scroll up, right? See how I'm scrolling all the way up. You scroll up, and you want to scroll as much as you can. I'll go crazy with it, right? I just scroll all the way up, and then you're gonna click right around here, right? You're gonna click on the left side of the screen and see how the order popped up. And now you go to your chart, right? You hit chart on the left, chart, and then you should be able to see right there your order on screen. You might have to zoom out some depending on how far you scrolled up. Right, so now there's your order, right? So now you can click the order, you hold it, right? You got to click and hold and then drag, right? So you go there, you click it, you hold it, and then you drag, right? Should be pretty easy. And then you just drag it to wherever, and then you can zoom in and do all that stuff, and you just drag it to wherever you're going to put it, right? So let's say you're going to put it right there. Okay. You're going to drag it. It's glitching right now because of screen sharing. So let me hold it. If it works, right? So you gotta hold and then drag. Usually it works, but I think it's because I'm screen sharing, it's kind of screwing up. Okay, I'm getting there. Okay, let's try it again, right? Let me delete this order. So go back on screen, you scroll up, right? You're gonna scroll up, and then you're gonna click on screen, and it should be there, right? And now you can grab it and drag it, if it'll let me now. All right. I guess it won't let me. Usually you're able to drag it though.
Hey, hey, yo, E.
Usually you're able to.
It's really finicky. It's really.
So you're able to do that. And then what you want to do is basically you do the same idea, right? You grab it and then you drag it, right? Pretty simple. And then the same idea is going to be when you get activated, right? You're going to get activated and then you drag your TP and stuff. I think it won't let me do it because I'm screen recording, but basically you get the concept there, right? The concept is pretty simple. All you want to do is you want to scroll up. Make sure you scroll up pretty far up so that you're able to so that you don't put your order too close to where it activates you before the time. And then you actually, you hold it and then you just drag it and you put it where it needs to be, and then it should be pretty good. And then the same idea for a sell order, right? What you're gonna do is you're gonna do it on the right side, right, where it's red, and you're gonna scroll up all the way up, and then you're gonna place it right there. Boom. And then you do the same thing. You scroll down. Now it's on screen, right? Now you can grab it and then drag it, right? When it should let you do that. It won't let me because I'm screen recording, but that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. And then you do the same thing with your partials as well too, right? So you go there, and then you say you're taking a buy. You put 2 there. Now you got your order on screen. You're gonna take partials. You go there again. You go back. You select the number, right? The number of partials you're gonna take, and then you gotta scroll up again and then put it on screen. Make sure you click it on the right and the far left, and then you got it. This time you gotta do it on the right side, right? Because it's a limit sell, right? So you do it on the left, and now there you go. You got your order on screen, and you got your parcels on screen, and that's pretty simple. It's the easiest way to do it. Do you have to double tap it? There you go. Right. So you have to double tap. That's what you got to do. You double tap and then you drag, right? So you don't hold and drag. Instead, you double tap it and then drag it. Boom. Simple, 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 right? So now it's working. All you have to do is double tap it, right? That's all you got to do. So you put your order on screen. Let's try it again, right? So you do on screen. You scroll up. You select the number of contracts. You hit the plus button. You put it on the screen. And then what you want to do is like the chat saying, right? You double tap it, click it twice, and then you should be able to drag it, right? Just like that. Yep, exactly, right? And then you put it on screen, and then you get activate. Once you wait to get activated. Let's see if you can get activated there. Simple, right? See if you'll let me get activated. Ooh. Right? And then you do it, you go back there. And if you're in a limit, and for limit buy, you do the opposite, right? You select the contracts you're going to take partials on right there by hitting the minus button, and then you do limit sell on the right, on the other opposite side, And then, like I said, same idea, double click, drag, done. There you go. It's pretty simple, right? There's another way to do it, but I think this is the best way to do it off the dome. It's pretty simple, pretty easy. Most people can do it, and I think that's pretty much it. And then obviously once you get activated, let me see if I can get activated here so I can show you how to get your partials, how to drag your stop loss in TP. So you double tap and you drag. Let's see, it doesn't want. There we go. Now we're activated, right? Now we're activating the trade, and then what you want to do is you double tap again, same idea, double tap, drag your stop loss, double tap, drag your TP. The one thing you got to remember though is when you're dragging your stop loss and your TP, you got to make sure when you double tap and drag that you don't release it until you've hit the wherever you don't release it yet. Just hold it until you get it to where you want your partials to be, and then you release. Otherwise, it can stop you out before time, right? So I think that's pretty much it. To do it on phone, man, it's pretty simple. Pretty simple, right? So yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, simple, right? And then that's that part there, right there. And so now we can get into the system, the actual system that we use to pass our combines, right? So I don't know if Logan wants to hop in here and give his system real quick.
Yeah, so I don't know if you all was all in here whenever he had first showed my first combine ever.
Yeah,
Um
I'm gonna use the
I
bathroom
took
real quick
mine a
while you do
little
that.
slower.
You
So
got this.
it took me like almost a month to pass my combine because I was doing base hits. I know y'all heard E talk about base hits. I feel like it's important to build that discipline as a trader instead of running after 1,500 days. You know, like you need $3,000 to pass the account, and if you get a 1,500 day, that's your maximum profit. But I don't want you all chasing at 1,500 day because that's not realistic trading. You know, so my method is a little bit different. I try to take base hits and I try to pass my combine within like a week or so. I know other people might try to do it differently, but I like to take my time with mine because I feel like whenever I first had my combine and I built that discipline, as far as like just taking my trades, locking my account out, going to the next day, that really helped me on later on down the line whenever it's time to like take money on an XFA because I already had that discipline built from my combine. If that makes sense. I know E and them do it a little different. Well, actually, E does his a little similar, but Chris may do his a
Absolutely.
little different. But me personally, that's how I like to do mine.
Absolutely. So what he's talking about, let me show you what he's talking about. So basically the best way to pass a combine is to, take your base hits, right? So this is what Logan's um dashboard looked like his first month in this academy, right? So this is what it looked like. This is Logan's right here. This is how long it took Logan to pass his combine, right? Right here. So you see, look at what he did. He came to the market and he would take his base hits. So I think now is a good time to get into what a base hit is. So a base hit is basically you come to the market and you make a base hit. You allocate to yourself a base hit. I think for most people a base hit is $300, right? So you should come to the market, and once you make 300 you lock out, right? And if you make less than that you lock out. So you should only come to the market and take one trade, and that one trade will typically yield anywhere from like 100 or 200 to 300, and that should be more than enough for you to lock your account up and then come back the next day and try again and again and again. And this process might take a little bit of time, but the discipline that you build along this process is going to be very, very important, right? Very, very, very important for you to build that discipline, right? And then eventually he hits that 3K, right? And the great thing about him doing this is he built the discipline. So the next 5 days, he was able to do the same thing he did during that combine, and he secured a payout, right? So even though it took him a month, he was still able to take a payout that same month, right? So that was very, very, very important what he's talking about. And I know a lot of you guys want to be able to pass your combines very, very quickly by hitting a $15,000 day twice, and then you get the 3K, and now you're passed, right? So the what we do here is our system. We say, just let the market yield the results. You keep focusing on taking the best trade possible using the system that we use, the trade management system, the playbook, and you just come here and you do your job, right? You just make money. All you're doing is making money and taking the best trade possible and managing in the proper way. And then whatever results that yield, let it yield it, right? And then it might take a month for that to happen for you, but then that's okay. So for most beginners, most people, this is going to be the right way to do it, is to come to the market, take your base hits, and that's it, right? And once you've made a certain amount of money, you lock your account up and come the next day. Very, 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 very important, right? Very, very, very important here. And so that's the way I would recommend most people doing it. But we do have a system that we follow, and let me show you first how we manage our business here and talk with prop firms, right? So the way we do this is we come into the market every single month with a budget, right? So you allocate yourself a budget. Let's say you're going to give yourself a budget of $1,000. I'm gonna use 500 because that's more realistic for most people. So you're gonna come to the market and you're gonna allocate yourself a budget of 500 for the month. This is your budget, right? So you give yourself $500, and that is your budget, right? So now this $500 needs to yield profits, right? It needs to yield profits because you're investing $500 into prop firms to be able to make money off of it. So now, and if you split this up, you can allow yourself to have at very minimum 2 XFAs. So you're going to give yourself $300, and that's going to be for activation fees, right? That's activation fees, right? Activation fees, right? So that's going to be for your activation fees. So now that leaves $200, right? That's $200 that you can use for combines, right? These are eval accounts. You're going to buy 4 eval accounts, right? So now this right here equals to 4 eval accounts, right? And now you have 4 shots at getting these XFAs. You have 4 shots, and you're going for 2 XFAs, which means now you have 2 shots per XFA. So that means you have 2 bullets to be able to pass this XFA. So now we go into this, right? Where you have a combine. You got 2 combines, right? 2 combines for XFA. That means you got 2 evals to be able to convert into a XFA. 2 evals, right? Boom. Pretty simple. 2 evals. So now the way you're going to manage this is you're going to take one account, and that's going to be your aggressive account, right? Aggressive account. So this means this is the account that you're gonna pretty much fully max out your contract size when it comes to taking a trade with us, but only with us. So there's certain trades, A+ trades, and but at this point you've watched the trade management video, so you know what an A+ setup is, and you know what a B+ setup is. So this only works for A+ and B+ setups. So the next A+ setup you see, you're gonna put 5 contracts on that, right? And you're gonna try to hit that $1,500 a day. But this only works for people who are advanced and people who understand the playbook and people who have the capital, people who are willing to spend $500 on evals, who it won't hurt them if they lose that $500. So these people are able to do this, and then that aggressive account, you try to hit that 1,500, and then you try to get that 1,500, and then you try to do it again the next day. And then if you're not able, let's say you blow this eval, you're not able to get the XFA with that eval, now you have one more shot, right? One more shot, and that one's going to be your more conservative account, and that's when you do what Logan was talking about, where you come into the market, you take your base hits, and then you try to get your XFA very, very slowly. And this, so I would say for most people, give yourself 2 shots at getting an XFA, 2 to 3 shots at getting an XFA, and then that's your total investment. So if you invest, if you come to the market and you say, hey, look, I'm gonna buy 2 evals, right? 2 evals, right? And I'm gonna try to pass that. I'm gonna try to convert that into 1 XFA, right? Right, 1 XFA, right? You're going to try to convert 2 evals into 1 XFA. So now you got 2 shots. You could even give yourself 3 shots, right? 3 evals, and now you're in. The XFA is 150 plus 150. Now you're into this $300, right? Now you're into this $300, and now once you get your XFA, you're gonna manage it the way we're gonna talk about right now. How you're gonna manage your XFA. So this is the system that we use to be able to pass our evals. But I would only recommend it for people who are at that level where they understand the playbook. If you don't understand the playbook, don't do this. Try to understand the playbook first, and then you can do this, right? So for most people, they don't have that in that type of capital to just throw in an eval. If this is your only eval, do not do it. Just take it slowly and try to get your base hits, and that's it. As simple as that. As simple as that, right? So this is the system that we use, and we're gonna get into how to manage your XFA once you already got it. So it's gonna be pretty simple, right? It's gonna be pretty simple in how to manage your XFA. All you're gonna do is do what we talked about earlier, is get your base hits. So that means that you're gonna only take one trade a day on your XFA. You're gonna come into the XFA, and you're gonna come into the Express account, and you're gonna allocate yourself a base hit, right? So your base hit for most people should be $300, right? So think about that. You come into the market and you make $300. 3 times 5 is a total of 3 times 5 is $1,200, right? So now you make yourself 3 times 5 is $1,500. So now in 5 days, if you only make $300, you now have made a total of $1,500, right? So 300 a day times 5 is 1,500. So now you have a payout of $750 secured, safely secured, right? So you have a payout of $750 secured. Boom. And you did that in 5 days, right? And now you have capital to where you can rinse and repeat this process over and over and over again. Maybe now you do it at 2 XFAs, and now instead that 750 turns into 1,500, 3 XFAs, and so forth, right? So very safely you have converted you allocated yourself, let's say $300 to get your XFA, and once you get your XFA, you follow this process of making $300 a day and locking it out, and just doing this 5 times in a row, or it doesn't have to be in a row, but you can do it once you do it 5 times, 3 days of 300, which more than likely in here you're going to get it in a row because we have a really high win rate. So once you get your 300, your 1,500, you take 750. So now you've made $500 profit, right? Profit. You've turned 300 into 750, right? So now you've made $500 profit, right? Very, very simple, right? 550 actually, right? So you've made $550, and now this money goes into your bank account, and that's your money. You can do whatever you want with it. You can spend it however you like. You can reinvest if you need to. I would reinvest that $300 back again and keep that 500 as profit, and then just do that process again. Right? So this is the business model that you want to use when you're using prop firms, right? So you want to be able to invest a certain amount a month, and then convert that money, that investment, into profit, and you're going to do it safely the way we showed you here. By going through the Kanban phase, you're either going to go through it slow. If you don't have the money to invest, you go through it slow, or you do it how I explained to you earlier. And once you get funded, you go through the XFA process where you're going to get your base hits, and then you secure yourself a payout. Easy peasy wheezy, right? So that's the way you want to manage your XFAs once you get it, right? And so let me show you an example here of one account, just one of my accounts that I've been able to do that, right? So you see how I came into this account. I got my XFA. I came in on one day. I made 500, 600, 200, 200, 300. And now I have a balance of 1,900, which means that I can withdraw $1,000 off of this account. And that's just one account, right? That's just one account. So a lot of people will tell you to go ahead and start, building your buffer. But the truth is that you don't need to build a buffer with what we do when you can take out profits every single day. So once I've taken out this 1,000, I roll into next week and I do it again, and now I have another 1,000, and you can do this 5 times in a row, right? Before you go live, which I would suggest you don't go live on the top step, right? So very, very simple, man. Very, very simple. You come here, you wear XFA, you give yourself a base it, and typically what will happen is there'll be one day where you'll hit a home run, and you might make like $600-700, and that might be the best day of your week, and then now you've secured a payout very quick, right? Very very quick. So I think that's pretty simple, man. Pretty simple. So now you've learned why prop firms are good, why Top Step's better. You've learned all the rules with Top Step. You learn how to set up your account. You learn our system and how we pass our evals and how we manage our XFA. You learn what base hit is, and now you know how the platform works, right? Pretty simple. Any questions before we continue here? Any sort of questions? And now is the time for, any elite members want to throw anything in there, anything that you think I forgot. If you want to throw it in there, you can turn on your microphone, right?
I think you pretty
Anybody?
much covered everything with the
Yeah,
base hits. I don't think is there
basics.
anything else to add.
Pretty much, honestly. I mean, like you said, take your base hits, lock your accounts out, and
Moose,
you
you
will
had
be
something you
successful
wanted to
a
say
little faster.
earlier. I think you had an idea of something that you want to talk about.
Talking about for the what are you talking about for Top Step?
Yeah, you can talk about that.
Snap. I'm trying to let me remember it. Give me a second. You put me on the spot. Give me a second, man. I got I'm trying to think what it was. I'll get it. Give me 2 seconds. I have it written down. Hold on.
Anything you want to say in between while he waits, while he's waiting there, Logan?
I think you pretty much covered with the basics, y'all. Those basics is what builds discipline. Whenever you make your base hit, please lock out. Like, don't overtrade. A lot of times, like even me and E and Chris, whoever, whenever we have a base hit, we lock out. Like, even if it's a session and we're trading, we do not trade because our account is locked out. You have to lock out. Like, sometimes you might actually try to take a trade, but you can't because you're locked out. You gotta build that discipline, and whenever you get that build up, you honestly, like right now, I don't even lock out because I have that discipline to where whenever I make a certain amount of money, I'm not trading. Um,
And to
so
answer your question, oh sorry, Logan, go ahead.
Yeah,
you
I
good?
agree there, man. I agree. So you have to get your base hits, and you have to have the discipline, and that's why the lockout feature, and that's why I like Top Step, right? You can lock your account out for that day and not trade that account anymore. And then what Logan's talking about is you switch over to another account. That's why, having multiple accounts is beneficial, because once you've made that 300 or that base hit, you can switch over to another account and then do the same thing on that account. That way you never want to trade the same account, whether or not you've gotten a win or a loss in two different sessions. So you only keep one account per session, and once you've made that money, you don't want to take that into another session and start trading that account in that other session too, because you don't want, if you take a loss, you don't want to take a loss on an account that you've already made money on, right?
Right.
So
Top
Moose, what do
is
you
like if
remember?
you do come in here. So basically, if you come in here and you have a combine that's already down 1,000, down 500, don't panic. Like, there's a lot of people who came in here, like Wazy, who had a combine that was down, like I think it was 500, and even DJ, a lot of people, and they were panicking. They're like, should I just reset it? Don't reset it. Take your base hits, climb yourself back up. I mean, you should have at least 2 or 3 combines if you can, like you said, so you can have, like, we trade 3 sessions, technically 4 sometimes. If you have multiple combines, it's good, but don't give up on a combine if it's down. You still pass it. Be positive. Come in, build your base
Yeah,
hits up on it.
and all that
And
stuff is gonna all that stuff we talked about in trade management, right? All that stuff. I think what you wanted to talk
exactly.
about, Moose, was how, like, what happens, with your resetting your account or canceling them,
Oh,
and you also wanted to talk about
combines. Yeah,
you
yeah.
also wanted to
So
talk about what going live, right? So you can talk about that if you want to, like, blowing your account before you go
guys,
live and all that stuff.
the reason you don't want to go live is because at the end of the day, if you go live, you're locked out of having XFAs and combines. You have to. That is, if you go live with $1,000, you're stuck. That's it. You don't get it. You're done. That's where you're at. They're gonna check your accounts every time. If you do blow that live account, it's going to be less likely you're going to be able to get more combines, more XFAs. And on top of that, if you do blow an account, make sure you go in and cancel it. Like, sometimes I've had an issue, E hasn't, but I have had the issue where it still tried to charge me when I did cancel the combines. So don't forget to cancel your combines so you don't get charged. And just you do not want to go live. If you have 4 XFAs, that is a million times better than having one live account with, if you're lucky, 10,000, 5,000. If you're going to get it up to that, it's better just to continue blowing your accounts at the end of the 30 days, having base setups of base hit combines already up to an XFA point, like Chris, like Logan, like me, like
Yeah.
E, DJ. We all have combines ready to activate. I think right now
Yeah,
Chris has
so
two combines ready to activate.
what he's talking about is TopStep has a rule. Once you got an XFA, they have a rule where you can only take a max of 5 payouts, or you can only have 30 days of 200 or 250 and above. Or 150 and above. So what he's talking about is before you hit that 4th payout, you want to be able to blow your account, which normally this will happen naturally, because if you don't blow your account on that 5th payout, they're going to move you to a live account, which now you're going to lose access to combines. You're not going to be able to buy more combines or more XFAs, and you're going to be locked in with one account of whatever the total balance of all your accounts that you had at the time. So if you add up all your accounts once you hit the 5th payout, and the total balance is 1,000 or 2,000, now you only have one account with 2,000 in it. So now you're locked in with that with that balance, and then it kind of impedes your ability to be able to do what we're doing here with the XFAs. So you want to be able to sim farm this process, right, over and over and over again, rinse and repeat. So at the 4th payout, I would probably blow the accounts and then restart that process over again and again and again and again. And this is the best way to do it. And also what he's talking about is with the canceling your account is whenever you blow a combine, it's gonna, you obviously when you sign up for that combine, you signed up to rebill because it's a monthly thing, but more than likely you're not going to pay for that monthly because you're going to move to an XFA. But if for by any chance you blow that combine and you keep it on your dashboard and you don't cancel it before the 30 days, it might want to rebill you, or it might try to rebill you again. And so he's just talking about canceling that combine. But at that point, you might as well just reset it if you're going to get another combine, or just or it might just not, or if it might just cancel its own on its own, right? So what I do is I have a separate card just for combines, just for accounts, and typically I try not to leave enough. I try not to leave enough money in there to where it's just gonna rebill, because I have a separate bank account for just that. But we're gonna get into all that stuff when we start talking about opening an LLC and having a business account, and all that stuff is gonna be separate. We're gonna talk about that in a separate webinar. But I think for now, Ben, this is pretty much it. We've talked about everything we had in the agenda today, and I don't think we missed anything. You can always rewatch the video, and if there's any questions you guys have after watching this video, just bring it into the live sessions and be like, hey man, I watched this video and this part didn't make sense. Can you explain it to me? And then you guys can come up, and then we can explain it to you into detail. But this is just a baseline of what we do, and obviously you can get more information in these sessions. And then I think that's it, Ben. And now we can get into like a little Q&A in here. Yeah, so we